Well, I think it's our freestyle. We're at our 15 minutes of freestyle,
Oh
so
shit, let's rock, bro.
we're chilling and like a villain. I had mentioned earlier the dry fire practice and stuff with the lasers and everything like that. Those are a tremendous help. The recoil activated guns, I think it's like $500 or whatever, but it's a tremendous help. I think it's money well worth spending. To be able to practice, they do sell them in Glocks, SIGs, CZs, and different various manufacturers, replicas. That you can, if you have a Glock, you can practice with your actual platform, which I think is very, very good for new shooters for sure. But there's a caveat to that because I don't want you to get the guns confused. Right, and be picking up the live gun versus the practice gun. I think they do a good job. It's because they have a red metal tip on the front of them that shows you that it is not a actual round and the barrel is blue, so you can identify that by visual. But the pink Rhino laser rounds, the same things. Unfortunately, they make these in a brass color. They look
new. I mean, look like actual
live rounds
right,
and stuff like that. But you have to know what you're looking at to know that it doesn't have the bullet on the end of it or the projectile in the end, and it doesn't have the traditional primer, it being in black.
I mean, honestly, a lot of this stuff is what we speaking now is a little advanced for the new shooter, right? The premise of this is to help the new shooter circumvent a lot of the issues that you guys may be having when you come into a gun shop, feeling uncomfortable. I was once there. I'm sure you probably was there once upon a time. Yeah. So we just trying to help you get around those little issues, right? The dry fire practice, the things he's showing you right now is important. That's if you want to take shooting to the next level, right? Because you got the reason why I say that is because everything is not for everybody, right?
Right.
You might have the casual shooter who might. I go to the range twice a year. This ain't important to me, right? But you might have somebody who want to take this serious, right? And for the people who want to take this serious, this is exactly what he's explaining to you right now.
Yeah. So, and I think for me, right? I think if you're only practicing a couple times a year, I feel like you're not adept at being able to everyday carry and use it in an offensive way.
But you got to remember now, we thinking about down south. What about up north where they don't have access to this?
Okay.
Right?
Well,
so we got to think.
Well, think about it like this. Okay. Non-lethal forms of self-defense, right? That go along with it. I think, up north, there are things, especially for like felons and stuff, right?
Well, not just felons, for regular civilians. Like when you say up north, like I'll give you an example. New York City, right, where I'm from, right? Mm-hmm. You can't even have a fucking pocket knife.
What do they say about like the airsoft and like?
No, airsoft. You trying to get killed?
Well, no. I'm just saying as far as.
But what do you? All right. So here where I go back. Let's just say we talking about airsoft. What are you practicing if you can't have an actual firearm? So this is why most people don't concern themselves.
Well, what do they do about like the burners and stuff that are like the pepper ball guns and stuff like that?
But we don't have none of that, brother.
Oh, you can't get none of it.
No, we don't have none of that. Listen, I've been in Georgia for 10 years. Right. I'm not going to date myself, but in my life in New York City, I've never even seen a gun range. I've never seen a gun range.
Yeah.
Right. So that means there's no access for me to go train, practice, or anything. So this is why I say it's broader than like some people. They don't. What we training for? Yeah. But we got to vote. Listen, all right. Some of these laws got to change. That's a whole nother topic, and I'm willing to discuss this, right? But some of these laws got to change. There's no reason why we can exercise our Second Amendment down here in the South, and you guys are not able to exercise your Second Amendment in the North, which is blasphemy because
there's more crime.
And not only that is the people are so. I'll save that for another topic. Carry on, bro. I'm sorry.
Well, no, we're just freestyling. So like right now, we just
all right. So you got these people who say, all right, they want to change laws of the 2A, right? Mm-hmm. Right. They should be able to have this, but they shouldn't be able to have that, right?
Right.
And why these states can have it and why these states can't have it. Well, let's just say that's an attack on the Second Amendment, right?
Right.
So let's say we attack the First Amendment, which, everybody loves the First Amendment, right? Mm-hmm. I should be able to say what the hell I want, right? So let's just say if I say, all right, in your First Amendment, you can say these words, you just can't say these words right here. How would you feel?
Well, I mean,
right? So that is the same way we feel when you're attacking our Second Amendment.
Right.
You can have this, but you can't have, if it's an amendment, it's an amendment.
Yeah.
right? So let's just say you can say fuck, shit, bitch, but you can't say dick, eat, at, whatever the case may be.
Right, yeah.
We taking that away from you. You know, the First Amendment lovers.
Yeah,
Oh, this
they
is my
gonna nut
first.
up. Yeah, they gonna nut up. Yeah,
There you go. And that's how I
they
feel.
always say that the Second Amendment was designed to enforce the First, right? Or protect the First,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And then the third and fourth, fifth and sixth is always protecting that second,
Correct.
right? Lawyers and all.
Listen,
that
I love my amendments, but the only one that matters to me is the second.
Yeah, it's the second, right? And
The
I think here's the thing too, because like you said earlier, some people aren't meant to have a firearm. And I don't mean that as far as Northerners, and I mean that just as far as personality traits and other like that. I think even down here in the South and in other states, that there are people that let their egos and pride take a situation further than it needs to go.
Huh?
You know, it's a sad situation. I think it kind of, you're bound by your hands. I think, like, my dad used to say, hey, there wasn't as many fights back in the 60s in school like it was when you was growing up, or, you know what I'm saying, 80s, 90s and stuff like that. And I said, well, shit, back in the day, I think, hell, y'all used to take karate in one of your classes. Yeah. So you got a school full of folks who got a karate class. You don't know how advanced one of these motherfuckers is, so it makes you timid in trying to pick out an opponent.
Yeah.
Whereas you feel like, oh, can't nobody beat me and this and that. Hell, that motherfucker might be a black belt.
Can I get the number 3, bro?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy. 3.
All right. Well, fuck it, I'm going to say it. Look, African Americans, I know for the longest we've been voting Democrat. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, how to vote for, but we need to hold some of these people accountable for our votes, right? We can't no longer just give them our votes because our parents and our grandparents voted for these people, right? And Democrats, y'all need to step y'all shit up. I'm just being honest with you. The time has passed to say, hey, you black, vote for us, it's gone, right? It's a crying shame why I'm able to carry a gun in the South while my counterparts in New York, New Jersey, New Jersey people able to carry a firearm. Well, my counterparts in New York, where I'm from, I'm speaking for my people. And I'm not talking about the city of New York, right? I'm not talking about upstate, and I'm not talking about Long Island. I'm talking about the 5 boroughs. That is Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, Staten Island, and what the hell up? I missed one of my boroughs. The Bronx. The Bronx, right? There's no reason why we're not able to carry firearms, right? This is a direct violation of your Second Amendment, and it's time for us. You know, I know you're going to have some guys, and especially in the black community, we was raised that, hey, firearms is taboo. You got to wake up. You have to wake up. This is not the time where our grandparents and the elders, you have to wake up, right? Make these people earn your fucking vote.
So there's a old saying that says to have and not need is better than to need and not have.
Correct.
Okay. And Sun Tzu, Art of War. It's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. Right. Okay. That premise on its own should let you know that self-preservation, right, or self-defense in that situation.
You got to be your own first line of defense.
Right.
You got to be your own first line of defense, people.
And I would say, I mean, my only path, it sucks, you guys up in New York.
And not just New York. We're talking about other states as well. Yeah. That's not a
hand-to-hand
I'm
combat.
speaking New York specifically because that's where I'm from.
Yeah, hand-to-hand combat because, or something like that. I don't know what to offer because I've never been in that situation, right? But you would say hand-to-hand combat, but if a criminal's got a gun, what good is some karate lessons going to do against a bullet?
Correct.
Okay, you're risking yourself by carrying a pocket knife or going to jail if the police stop you or whatever.
That'd be a good insert when Show Enough said catching bullets with his teeth. N-word, please. Right? Good insert, all right.
Right. So, and I think it's a travesty that somebody can't choose to defend themselves even with a knife. I'm an edged weapons guy. I know this is a gun podcast, but I love edged weapons. I have fucking 50, 60 different blades, knives, swords, all that stuff there. I was into that stuff as martial arts. But so at the end of the day,
we voting for politicians who walk around with armed security, right? Listen to what I'm telling you. We voting for politicians that walk around with armed security. So in essence, pretty much saying their life is more valuable than your life for the life of your loved ones, right? So why are you able to be surrounded by armed security, but we can't protect ourselves?
Because you're a peasant. right?
But
That's what
bullshit.
they look at it as.
Bullshit.
That's what they look at it as a peasant. I used to say that all the time back in the day when I was young. Because, you know, you get that arrogance from people who are affluent or have money, right? Generally, right? Yeah. And that used to be my line, big dog, don't let your wallet get your ass whipped.
That's a fact.
You can't stand on top of that motherfucker tall enough to not take one of these in your fucking face. I don't give a fuck who you know, what money you got, it's over with.
Is this where we become the ignorant? This is what the ignorant
part. Yeah, that's the ignorant part.
That's
the ignorant part, because the whole thing is they big and ignorant. I'm not ignorant until somebody ignorant with me, right? Because ignorance begets ignorance. Okay, you want to fool around? I'm going to fool around. Okay. Right? But at the end of the day, I think that we get back to up north, it's hard for me to give you advice on what to do, because the criminals are always going to have access to it. A criminal's going to toe the blade with them.
Criminal always got the advantage.
Right, because they're not obeying the law.
And if you want to defend your life, your loved ones, and your liberty, you almost have to become a criminal as well. Which is the sad part about it, because that's how a lot of us get jammed up in the system, right? We trying to do the right thing. We trying to protect, right? It's the prey and the predator, right? We trying to protect, and we get jammed up in the system because we trying to do the right thing, and meanwhile, we getting screwed over.
Yeah.
So, again, make them earn your vote. You cannot just walk around and say, I'm voting for people just because your parents voted for them.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing I notice on both sides of the aisle, right? Whether you're Republican or Democrat.
Fuck them both. Fuck them both.
I'm a libertarian myself.
Yeah,
right?
fuck them both.
I'm just about this liberty, limited government, get the fuck out of my face.
There you go.
Right? And then keep it rolling, make sure the economy don't crash. Cool. Right? But I think because people develop party lines and wanted to vote down party lines, I think they don't never, like you said, make sure of who you voting for. I see people, when we get into these debates politically and shit like that, Republican versus Democrat, because most people assume I'm a Republican because of my gun stance. But it's a bunch of libertarians out here that have the same gun stance, and there's a bunch of Democrats that have the same gun stance too. Their just voice isn't as loud. But it comes back to, hey, do you check behind the guy you just voted for to see if he actually voted the way that you thought he was going to vote?
Correct.
So, you know, it's called C-SPAN, for those that don't know. And it will list all the yays and nays. And you can go publicly on, I think, congress.gov or something like that, and look at the voting of each one of the senators or congressmen, right? House of Representatives, right? And that way you can say, hey, I voted for that Democrat or that Republican, and in the last 4 years, that son of a bitch, all these votes, all this important shit that I thought, he ain't voted nowhere near what the fuck I wanted him to vote for. So why am I going to fuck around and vote for this fucker again? But you do it because you become complacent. Because it's not affecting you like that in your everyday life, you don't see it.
Look, for the most part, we do it because fucking black vote Democrat, white vote Republican. And so in our head, we have to vote Democrat.
Right.
We got to stop that shit. And I'm not telling you to go vote Republican or Democrat. I'm not saying you vote who the fuck you want to vote for.
Vote for the right person.
Do your homework, do your research, and make sure that with their agenda align with your agenda. And if you feel comfortable with that at the end of the night, there you go.
Well, I always used to tell people, hey, why you don't vote for your pastor? Well, he wasn't on the ballot. You know, you can write in who you want, right? So if you're conscious, if you say, well, I hate when somebody say, I just chose the lesser evil. You don't have to choose either of them fucking evils. You don't have to vote. If there's a president here that you don't like, and this one here is doing some shit that you don't like, oh, well, I'll just take this guy because he ain't done as much bad shit. Neither one of them are good goddamn candidates. Don't vote. Put Willie B. You remember when motherfuckers were putting Willie B., the goddamn ape from the Atlanta Zoo? Right near Willie B., that nigga had like 50,000 votes. You know what I'm saying? Like, right Willie B.
I am Chuck, one half of the ignorant nerd. I'm Chuck, one half of the ignorant nerd.
And I'm Cowboy, the other half of the ignorant nerd.
Y'all go fuck off.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Either you like it or you don't, man. We appreciate you tuning in.
Take it easy.
And if she's easy, take her twice.